Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Sean O'Connor.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Sean.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Thank you so much for having me to talk about Pixar movies.
I'm so happy to have you on, and I do not understand why you dislike this movie. This is Inside Out.
It's a classic to some people, but it sits pretty low on my list of Pixar movies.
Yeah?
I'll jump right into it. This was... I was always a big Pixar fan, and it awoke the child at heart in me, and I could sit through them, without the cynic's eye. And all of a sudden, I go see Inside Out, and it just shattered for me completely. Starting with the short that they showed before it.
Wait, what short did they show before it?
I have a couple of pictures for you and a short song clip, but it's the goddamn lava short where the lava monster, or it's not a lava monster, he's a volcano, and he's singing about wanting to find love. And he goes underwater. Okay. And his love finally pops up above water, and she can't find him. It's so sad, and that's the starting point of Inside Out. Whoa. What bleeds into Inside Out, which is one of the saddest Pixar movies, and it's something that I'll talk about a lot, is just that it's such a bummer throughout the whole movie. In other Pixar movies, there's circumstances, there's challenges the heroes have to overcome, but they're funny or the stakes are high. I'll get into that too, how there's no stakes when you're talking about personality traits as main characters. But, they're in peril in other movies, or it's really funny how they get out of circumstances. Whereas in Inside Out, everything is a bummer. Like, everything is about Riley losing another personality trait or her going more catatonic. And it's just really sad.
Whoa, Sean.
I know it's a lot of ideas all at once.
Pump the brakes.
Thank you.
Wrong on so many fronts.
Go for it.
But let's go bit by bit.
I'll hear you out. Let's start with the volcano. Do you remember what I'm talking about now?
No, because the thing is, I just watched this movie. I didn't see it in theaters.
Oh.
I just watched this movie. I missed it when it was in theaters. And I used to be the kind of guy who'd go to Pixar movies all the time. But this is... Inside Out was the first Pixar movie that I did not see in theaters as it was coming out. And this is a... Actually, sorry, I misspoke. Brave.
You didn't see?
I didn't see. But Inside Out, I also did not see. 2015 American 3D computer animated comedy drama film produced by Pixar, released by Walt Disney Pictures, written by Pete Docter, Meg LaFave, and Josh Cooley, directed by Pete Docter, and it's set in the mind of a young girl named Riley, whose 5 personified emotions, joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust, try to lead her through life as she adjusts from her new surroundings after moving from Minnesota to San Francisco.
Yes.
This movie is...
It's about emotions.
About emotions.
It's the Emoji Movie with a better script.
It is. Oh my God.
But I don't want to say too much.
Oversimplification. You said too little.
It's not a good script also is what I want to say.
Wrong.
I don't really enjoy it.
Okay, well actually you have like half a point there. Because I do think the movie does suffer in its script from being a little bit too Inception-y.
Yes.
It has to, because it has to be.
Do you mean how they're constantly introducing rules as they go?
Yes, and explaining everything that's going on for you, just so you're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, this is happening, I get it.
You mean you didn't know about the feelings highway, or the train of thought, or the
imagination
station,
imagination land?
Oh, fucking Oingo Boingo! What was his name? What was the
Bing Bong?
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong is a great character.
Bing Bong is a great character.
You got some shit against Bing Bong?
I love Bing Bong, and then they killed him. So let's talk about another reason this movie is sad.
Bing Bong sacrificed himself for the greater good.
Do you remember Toy Story 3? What, spoiler alert, minor spoiler alert for Toy Story 3.
We can spoil whatever we want on the podcast, Sean.
Everyone saw Toy Story 3, though, so I don't think this will be a spoiler for anybody. Anyway, they almost all die at the end.
Yeah.
Did you see that Toy Story 3 prank where that kid edited the ending for his mom who had not seen Toy Story 3? He edited it so it ended right there where they're all like facing the flames and all the characters are about to die.
No.
It was hilarious, but it was a joke, right? That's not where the movie actually ended. I feel like Bing Bong dying is kind of like they actually put it into the Pixar movie. Like they're like, oh yeah, he's not coming back. He's just dead now forever. He's not like in the credits as like still living in some other, realm. He's just gone. And that's just really sad. It's emotional manipulation is what it is, Jay. Children are seeing this movie. I, as an adult, was crying, and I'm like, this is too much. This is too much for kids.
Okay, all right. We got to back up more.
We do.
You got a problem with Pixar doing emotional shit, then what did you think of Up?
Well, my point...
Which is the saddest 10 minutes that you're ever going to see in a Pixar movie.
It is, and right away I cared about all the characters. So if this is a good time to talk about how you can only have so much emotional investment when your characters are emotions.
You're telling me you don't care about Bing Bong?
Bing Bong was the most, he was the most fleshed out. He was more fleshed out than joy and sadness. Like, when Joy was going to fall into the pit, I was like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that Riley will never be joyful again? Is that we're supposed to? I didn't know what the stakes were.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
We are getting very ahead of ourselves.
Let's go way back to the lava short.
So I watched this movie, and I did not have access to the lava short.
Yes.
So explain to me what
the elevator pitch,
happened.
If you will. An elevator is singing a very Moana song. I'm pretty sure this was...
A volcano, you mean?
What did I say?
You said an elevator.
Why was I? Because I was still thinking about elevator. Goodness gracious me. I have no right to be on this right now. So a volcano is singing about how he's lonely, and then I guess his tears make him sink. Something makes him sink. I guess he erupts from lack of love. And then a female volcano rises up finally to find him because she's been listening to his song. Here's a short clip of the song.
Okay.
Emotional manipulation. It's all sad chords. This is what we start before we get into Inside Out.
This is like A Star is Born level emotional manipulation in the songs.
It's such a bummer. And here's a couple of, this is a visual thing, but at least Jay can see what I'm talking about. This is what he looks like while he's singing.
It's extremely sad. This movie, I'll throw the clips up on the video stream so you guys can take a look. But
he looks like when this Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is being burned and he gets really sad at the end of Ghostbusters.
He does look like a burned marshmallow. He looks like he's in so much pain at the very end of the second shot there where it just says hope will come true.
Oh, where he's submerged underwater while the love of his life is finally above water. This is all the first 5 minutes before we get into Inside Out. This is what they start with. And of course there's a happy ending and they both end up together at the end of the 5-minute short. Spoiler alert. They both rise up but the tag and the cute little spark of the song is they say, I want to find someone to lava.
Cute.
But if you think about it, that sounds really like aggressive. Like he wants to lava someone, like he wants to burn them alive. It doesn't really work as a cute play on words. That's the cynic in me thinking about this. But I was like, in his world, is he saying love when he says lava?
I think so.
Well,
also, Sean,
that doesn't teach kids good lessons about words.
Is lava volcano come?
I assumed so because he's really backed up and then he found love and then it all comes out.
Because that's how new land is born. That's how new islands are born, is volcanic lava.
And so many people are sacrificed for their love, if you think about it. 2 volcanoes went off for them to find each other.
Right.
Those were definitely populated islands.
Yeah.
Hopefully not the Moana island.
I think they're technically in different cinematic universes because Moana's a Disney movie and this is a Pixar movie.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
That's why I was suggesting that maybe this was the impetus for Moana. Guess not.
I guess not.
All right, that's enough time spent on the lava short. But I basically just wanted to set up that a really sad movie is prefaced with a very sad short.
Okay. So this movie is... I don't think it's as sad as you think it is.
Okay.
I found...
Did you cry?
No. There's a lot of sad parts. Did you cry?
I cried multiple times.
What times did you cry in the movie? There was a part that I was like, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen next.
When she won't do the monkey cutesy stuff with her dad, when she first loses Joy, when Joy gets sucked up the tube with sadness. Question. There's a clear change in Riley's face when that happens, and I thought she was going to be catatonic for the rest of the movie because all of her what's it called? Thought islands,
the
memory islands
of personality.
Islands of personality all disappear.
That's
and
my favorite Universal Studios theme park.
God, God, all of that stuff was beautiful to look at, but yeah, that was some really out there ideas. But it all collapses at the same time, and you're like, well, how is she even operating for the rest of the movie? That happens like 20% in, and she's still like pretty normal. I mean, she's just kind of like a bummer. But
yeah, I mean, she's a big bummer.
The rules aren't clear,
snapping
Jay.
to her mom and dad.
So she's just left with depression, or no, not sadness. She's left with fear, anger,
disgust, and anger. Yeah,
right.
And the thing is, this movie it's a sad movie. You're right. You're 100% right.
Thank you.
But it's not as sad as you think it is. I think maybe you're kind of just being a little bitch about this, Sean.
Wow. I mean, you would think that because I had such an emotional reaction to it and I was crying that I would enjoy it, but that's part of my bigger point about emotional manipulation.
Yeah, that's the thing. So you think why do you think it's a bad movie? Did you feel just manipulated? Did you feel like it wasn't
I think
with any kind of substance?
Yes, I feel like the strings were much more. I saw the puppet strings. I saw Pixar working their way into you instead of it just naturally happening. Like when you get to the end of Toy Story 3 and he's saying goodbye to all of his toys, the emotional impact of all three of those films hits you all at once, and like the journey, and you're reflecting in yourself and you becoming an adult. It all kind of accumulates, and there's a payoff.
Right.
There was none of that at the end of Inside Out. There's no. I mean, like. Basically, the emotion, completely independent of Riley, all of her emotions just went haywire. And I guess that's the point is like, especially when we're adolescents, our emotions are...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole the whole premise of the movie hinges on the fact that Riley is clearly going through, she's going through a big change in her life. She's moving across the country to a brand new place. And it's introduced very early on in the movie that sadness is an emotion that for a lot of the movie, you're supposed to believe is not supposed to be something you feel.
Or show, yeah.
Exactly.
It's frowned upon.
It's oh boy. How long have you been waiting for that one?
Last night at midnight, I awoke with a thought, and it was that joke. I've just been sitting on it. Anyway.
So this movie, the turn of the movie comes at a point where
Bing Bong dies. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's right before. It's might be right around when Bing Bong dies, but it's when Joy realizes that sadness is a necessary emotion.
That's a great point. When she talks to Bing Bong and he was really bummed out about Riley.
Right.
And Sadness listens.
And so Sadness listens and they hug it out and they cry it out, and then all of a sudden Joy is completely flabbergasted as to why everything is cool. And Sadness is like, I just listened. It's like some people got to do it.
That is a good scene.
It is a good scene because it also explains. This is coming off of a memory where they're going through the what was it called? Just long-term memory storage.
Where it's just all the multicolored balls and the Pixar animators showing off with all their balls.
Yeah. Pixar laying their balls out on the table.
That all the Page Master long hallways of just balls. Go on.
Just so Joy's grabbing some balls and
they're turning blue. Wait, we're getting into a whole sexual thing here.
This has got a weird. We're talking a lot about sexual stuff on this episode.
A lot of this
movie
are colored balls.
And they're getting
Most of this
turned
movie.
blue. The biggest problem in this movie is blue balls.
Blue balls. That is the overriding theme.
It is.
I think we solved it.
Oh my god.
It's still terrible to me though. All right. So she's being dragged through the hallways.
So she's being dragged, and they find the memory of Riley getting like thrown on the shoulders of her team, right?
Yeah.
And Sadness is like, oh yeah, that's the day that she missed the game-winning shot, and she almost quit hockey.
And her parents were consoling
consoled her. And later on, that memory comes back and is like a big moment for Joy as a character, where she already had seen Sadness do some useful stuff. You know, she consoled Bing Bong. I'm never going to get over just how great of a character name Bing Bong is, by the way.
Bing Bong is great, and I laughed a lot.
Great.
Their whole song with the wagon that gets them up there, all that was hilarious until he died. All right, sorry, go ahead. Go on.
Bing Bong has to die.
Why?
Because
this is a children's movie, Jay. Why?
Bing Bong is a character that shows she's growing up.
I still remember my imaginary friends when I was a kid.
Yeah?
They didn't just disappear when I was still a child.
I mean, I don't remember my imaginary friends.
This goes back to the point that she has no control over any of this, and it seems that everything is just running haywire in her head, completely independent of her. And she seems like a crazy person.
You don't feel like that?
I think Riley, she's a little off.
You don't feel like that? You don't feel like some stuff is going completely without control?
I guess occasionally. You know, this is why this is a great movie about mental health. And honestly, it seems like the most expensive children's educational movie ever made.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is.
And also a dangerous oversimplification of you only have X amount of emotions. But the latter half of the movie is...
Well, okay. Well,
I know I'm jumping. I'm so sorry.
Track. No, it's okay. But I want to put a pin in that emotions thing for a sec because I did read something interesting about the development of this movie.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that.
Okay.
Let's talk about Joy as a character. So you don't think you think Joy is two-dimensional, right?
Yes, and yes.
Here's where I think you're wrong. There's the sequence where this memory is being brought up, and she is literally holding the ball in her hand, and she does, like, whatever rewind on the memory, and sees that it is actually a sad memory.
Mm. And she cries.
And she realizes that she was wrong to be trying to push joy as the primary emotion all the time.
Yeah, she's always trying to be perky and happy because she feels it's her purpose.
That's what character development is. That means she has depth.
That took an hour to get there, and
I don't think it's wrong for it to take an hour to get there.
But if both of the heroes you're following are equally unlikable, and you have to be with them from the beginning. I'm going back to Toy Story, Buzz Lightyear and Woody.
Right.
They're both completely likable in their own rights, but they don't get along. So you're watching their journey and their foils and their comeuppance and their everything good that happens to them, and you're along for it, but those characters are so sadness and joy.
I don't think sadness and joy are unlikable. And they're complex characters.
By the end, sure.
But they're characters who it's to me, and I will say this, maybe it's because I have such an image of Amy Poehler as one of her most iconic roles, which is Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec. Joy reminds me a lot of Leslie Knope. And I don't know if that is intentional in the performance. I'm sure there's probably some level to it. But Joy is played, for the most part, where she's like full throttle, like, I'm in charge. I'm the head of this girl's brain. Mm-hmm. I run everything, and everybody sort of defers to me. And so that means I'm the most important person. And she's competent to a fault.
Yes.
Now, Sadness, on the other hand... Sadness is kind of like her little lackey, sort of like it's got like kind of a weird like Dwight Schrute, Michael Scott kind of relationship going on, where Joy clearly like hates Sadness, but is like, all right, I guess I have to have you around. You're gonna do this menial task, and it's not actually gonna do anything. Here, stand in this circle.
Right.
This is how useless you are to me. Is I need you to be here. This is very important. I promise.
She ruins everything in the first... I know it's necessary, but she just ruins everything at the beginning.
Exactly.
That makes you hate her.
But she has to.
Right.
Because that's how you get... Like, she's got a lot of really funny lines. She's got a lot of dialogue that is overly expositional, which is... I will say, that's what keeps the movie from being a truly great movie. And I think it's a good movie. But it does not crack the top 5 Pixar movies in my mind.
No.
If anything, I mean, I'd say it's probably flirting with like number 6, but it can't beat any of this other stuff because it does too much. It's just doing too much actual explaining of what's going on instead of just letting us be in this world.
Yeah, it's very busy.
It's very busy.
For sure.
But I don't think that Sadness is an unlikable character either. I think she's in a bad position, but I empathized and I felt for her as a character. Like, you're kind of in this role. You're stuck with this domineering boss. And now you get a chance to shine and show your true colors. Oh, this is good for you. This is character development.
Yeah, she's the underdog, and you find out that she's very useful. But even like her funny stuff, those jokes get milked. Like her just like falling down dead, and like being dragged everywhere. I don't know. I feel like within the first 15 minutes, I'd seen the end of their sketch, and then we were still stuck with them. I don't want to get. I wanted to ask you like. The formula of all these Pixar movies, which is the heroes get thrown away from their home and what's familiar, and they have to get the trek back. 2 prime examples, Finding Nemo and Toy Story. As far as like how they go about doing that journey and the stakes fit and everything, do you think that is fair that this is on a much lower level than the other two? Just like everything that happens to them.
Let's just go through the ranks here. For me, at least,
Mm-hmm.
top 5 Pixar movies.
That's a good question. Yeah, what are your tops?
WALL-E's at the top.
Okay.
Toy Story 3, Up. Probably. Oh gosh. I mean, the original Toy Story and Toy Story 2 are both really solid. And Incredibles is really good too.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to throw it around, I'd say Incredibles is probably number 4. And then I'm gonna go just because I really like Toy Story, but to me, all the Toy Story movies built on each other. So I'll put Toy Story 2 at number 5.
You can clump them all together if you want.
No, I don't want to. Okay. I think that there's a definite arc and level of skill to the Toy Story movies that grows over time.
Definitely.
Like, they're all really, really great movies, but they become greater with age.
Yeah.
And that's why I wound up being the only person who was over the age of 18 crying in a movie theater when I saw Toy Story 3.
Sure.
Because I was there with children. And it's weird.
Were they all crying too?
No. None of them, because none of them have any context.
Yeah.
They're just like,
they
it's
haven't
a
been
good
through
movie.
it.
But I've grown up with the Toy Story movies.
Right.
Inside Out is definitely not anywhere close to the top 5 Pixar movies. But I do think it's good. I think it's good.
We should say technically, when we're speaking about story and everything, technically, as far as the incredible feats of animation, when they do the abstract stuff, like that's all the heady, headier jokes that are for adults, that stuff worked and it looked beautiful. It made San Francisco look great.
And let's go ahead and remove this pin from a psychological standpoint. This movie, it's really, really well done psychologically. And I think that maybe I understand that you think it's oversimplified, but Pete Docter did his research.
I assume plenty of psychological research went into this.
And the thing is, there are 6 core emotions that have been discovered, and I'm gonna make sure I get this exactly right.
Yeah,
6.
Which one got left out from the movie?
They left out fear. Oh, sorry, they left out surprise.
I'm surprised.
Yes. So basically, there was they worked with Paul Ekman, who's a psychologist. He studies emotions, and Ekman identified those 5 emotions that you see in the movie and surprise. Pete Docter said fear and surprise are too similar, so he built 5 characters. They also considered Schadenfreude, ennui, pride, and hope.
What?
Yeah. So those have definitely been too complicated and too complex for a Pixar movie. That's a movie for children and babies. Which also, just like for point of fact, always remember that animated movies are for children. For the 90% of animated movies that exist,
not babies, kids.
They are for children.
Not babies, kids.
Not what?
That's for another day. Just Google babies, kids later. But yeah,
I'm
but Pixar.
Googling it right now.
The reason Pixar movies stand above other animation movies is because adults can find just as much and get just as much out of them. I mean, Toy Story 3 was more for adults than children. He's still looking up Bebe's Kids, and now he's going to go on a dark tunnel of Bebe's Kids research.
Dog.
It was a comedian. I don't know his name. He's
this is
a prominent 90s.
Phase on Love. It's based on Robin Harris's stand-up comedy.
There it is. Classic. Definitely not for children. You want to talk about little children saying curse words. It was okay. Golden age.
This movie, I mean, it got a PG-13.
I think Sinbad played the baby. Hilarious.
Here's the cast of this movie. Faison Love, Marcus Houston, Tone Loc.
Oh, it was Tone Loc. Sorry.
Tone Loc
Even
is in
better.
this movie. Louis Anderson's in this movie. Rich Little, John Witherspoon, George Wallace. Oh, wow.
If you have a moment, check out that trailer at some point. I won't make you do it right now, but it's
this movie bombed at the box office.
Yeah, it didn't do so well.
That's such a shame.
And Sausage Party, come on, Jay. This whole time I was brainstorming for.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you couldn't think of you could pull Bebe's Kids off the top of the dome.
Cool World with Brad Pitt. Come on, dude. I got like a whole laundry list. It's just gonna take me 20 minutes.
Throw Fritz the Cat in there too. Why don't you?
What was the one John Lovitz's Critic movie? That's a stretch.
The Critic.
Anyway,
the movie.
I agree with you that most Pixar movies are also appealing to children, and maybe if I was a kid, I would have gotten more out of this. But at the stage of my life that I saw it, it seemed oversimplified, and I was like, nah, I'm not getting it. I'm not gotten it.
And I will say it does seem oversimplified because it is oversimplified. And that's, again, the fault of the script.
Or maybe it's the fault of our brains having so limited emotions.
I miss The Fault in Our Stars.
Did you see that?
I did see The Fault in Our Stars. I'm just,
For this?
No.
Oh, you're just making the silly
Yeah,
joke.
I'm just making it. I'm Sean.
I'm with you. I'm with it. I'm hip.
I'm hip. I'm cool. So, okay. So, what else did you not like about this movie? What else are we going to argue about, Sean?
The plot progression with the line, "You read the manuals. You know the way back to headquarters." You remember that one throwaway line I gave you when I was trying to give you something to do at the beginning? Hey, that's what's going to get us out of all of this.
Sean, that's how good writing works, though.
Nah, dog.
Yes, it does.
It's just them being like, shit, we have to say something about these manuals.
That's like that's like using the watch in Die Hard as the way to get rid of the villain.
Yes.
It's breadcrumbs, buddy.
It's not good, tasty breadcrumbs. It's not garlic Parmesan breadcrumbs.
No, but are you trying to eat garlic Parmesan breadcrumbs all the time?
When I'm seeing a Pixar movie, I'm expecting the best. I have more here. Did you see Osmosis Jones?
Yeah, of course I saw Osmosis Jones. Another movie that's not meant for children.
It's not. And it's the same movie as this and done much better. Like when he has a cold and his whole body gets all hot and everyone's like affected.
No, Osmosis Jones is fantastic journey.
It's a great journey. I'm just saying it's definitely the better.
No, it's literally the plot of the movie Fantastic Journey.
Oh. I didn't know that was a thing.
There's a movie called Fantastic Journey where scientists get shrunk down into a pill and go inside to fight a disease.
I guess you could say it's also like Magic School Bus in multiple episodes.
Right. I mean, look, there's no original ideas. Inside Out is the closest they're getting to original idea because it's just in the brain.
Yeah.
And it's focusing on the brain itself as opposed to the whole body with Osmosis Jones. Osmosis Jones, great movie. I really enjoyed Osmosis
All the Bill
Jones.
Murray live action. You know what? It was like live action Ren and Stimpy. All of the gross stuff of like zooming in on his pimples and his bull.
Yeah.
But it was gross and edgy for its time. And the animation was just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the height of like cel-shaded animation.
Yeah. I just wanted to compare those two for a hot second.
Of course. That's got to be in your notes somewhere too. Osmosis Jones is
definitely wrote down Osmosis Jones.
What else did you not like about this movie?
I just was thinking how terrible it would be to be an animator on a subpar Pixar movie. Because you're working on these for like 3 to 5 years sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the jokes get stale after the first 6 months to a year. Like maybe they develop and change, but you're working on the same intricate details and like the shadows for one joke. And you just might not be that on board, but you're having to, it's not the best. And you're just like stuck doing it. I guess that's can be said about a lot of jobs and like long-term projects when people are working on like movies that everyone knows is gonna fucking blow that they've wasted $200 million on.
Right.
But
well, here's the question. Pixar is one of these film studios, and this is a world record-breaking film studio because they have the Guinness World Record for like highest rated production house of all time.
Yeah.
Like almost all of their movies are 5 out of 5 stars, gold standard for children's filmmaking, for animated filmmaking, for filmmaking in general. And I do think that movies like WALL-E and Up and the Toy Story franchise are really great movies that will stand the test of time.
Oh yeah.
Inside Out, I don't think is one of these movies that is like there's a lot of cool stuff going on with it. I don't know if it'll stand the test of time the way that those other movies do.
It's not a rewatcher.
But it's not Cars.
Wait a minute. What are you saying? Are you saying Cars is rewatchable?
No, I'm saying Cars is bad.
Stand the test of time? Okay. Gotcha.
Do you like Cars?
No, I've never seen it. I've never seen any of them.
Good.
I love the ride, though. I did the ride first time. I gotta tell you, I was very impressed.
Well, yeah, because Cars makes a good ride, but it's not a good movie.
It's just a big commercial sell, yeah.
Cars is a terrible... Cars is a movie that was basically... The only reason they continued making it is because they realized... Because children love Larry the Cable Guy as a tow truck.
Which, who knew?
Who knew, man?
Who knew they would find that audience?
Who knew?
Children for Larry the Cable Guy. Cars is a piece of shit, and this is a completely different caliber. I don't think this is Cars, because I feel like Cars is very transparent as like we can make a whole bunch of money off of merchandise and whatever, we're just going to do it.
But do the people who make Cars, or the animation team that's working on Cars, are they trying to do a good movie?
Yeah.
Are they trying to make something good, or do you think that they're like, we're just going to phone it in?
Because it's their resume, so it's in their best interest to do great work, but they're not as jazzed about it as I imagine the Toy Story crew is when they're like, holy this this is something special. You know what I mean? Maybe they didn't know it was lightning in a bottle and they were working on it too, but I just can't imagine working on something for that long. It's like, who directed 2001: A Space Odyssey? Help me out.
Stanley Kubrick.
There he is, old QB.
You can pull BB's Kids.
It's limited.
Right out of your brain.
Specific.
You don't know who Stanley Kubrick is?
I was thinking. Anyway, he worked for like 3 years gathering research for a Napoleon movie. I'm not smart. I only know about this because I went to the LACMA exhibit and I'm regurgitating information. But he had like his whole cabinet there of all the research he did for a Napoleon movie that he spent 3 years doing research for and then just abandoned it altogether. But imagine like working on something for even as long as 5 years and it's just being, and how do you get up in the morning? I don't know. I mean, obviously money and needing
money probably
for life
helps a
things,
lot.
But it just depressed me. That's the type of stuff I was thinking about during this movie because I was not engaged and I was not, following the whole middle chunk of this movie. Jay, from the moment they get sucked up in the Willy Wonka tube, it's all downhill. They separate them from the group. They don't pay. I mean, like, I know in every movie the heroes get separated from the rest of the ensemble. Yeah. But they advertise this movie as being the 5 of them. And they are all separated from each other. And you don't get Bill Hader. They advertise the shit out of Bill Hader and Kelly from The Office. But
you get all of them.
They get them for little bits and chunkies. Not a lot, though.
What?
They're the C plot, not even B plot.
They're
C story, I mean.
Sean.
Jay, listen.
Why?
Do we have more time to keep talking about things?
Yeah, we can keep talking about things. I'm so confused.
I know.
I don't understand. Why you got such weird nitpicks with this movie? Like some of the stuff I understand. I get on a script front. Sure, yeah. I don't think it's as good as other Pixar movies, but like you got a problem with the fact that they advertised.
It was not as advertised, for sure.
What did you expect going into this movie?
I remember
you saw it in theaters.
I saw it in theaters. Which is another. It was so much better.
What's
in
your
theaters.
situation like when you saw it in theaters? Were you going with friends? Were you by yourself? Were you on a date?
I am someone who sees movies by myself. I don't think I saw that by myself. I think I might have seen it with my sister, and I had to find time. But I was like, this is subpar. And I mean, obviously, it got an emotional reaction out of me. And there's scenes I remember. I wrote down the things that made me belly laugh.
What are the things that made you belly laugh?
Almost. 2 of the 3 things are in the montage during the end credits when they zoom into other people's personalities. And they did the cat.
Yeah.
That's one of the best jokes. And I think there was like a San Francisco joke earlier. But for most of it, it was just very by the numbers. And I didn't think it was nearly as funny as some of the other scripts. Like Toy Story. I know I keep bringing up Toy Story. And that is kind of that's the pinnacle for me. For Pixar movies, for sure.
The original Toy Story?
The whole series. That's why I do lump them together because I just think of them all as one continuing.
That's fair.
Saga until the 4th, which will be them in space.
No,
bringing back Andy's corpse from the moon.
Andy was the first person in the Elon Musk trials.
We gotta get Andy back from the moon.
We gotta get Andy back. Buzz.
I had
Catalyst, Bob. There's a corpse in my boot.
We have to stretch Slinky from the moon to the earth. Whoa!
There's a snake in Andy's distended skull.
We have to extend it to the moon. Since they're constantly introducing new nonsense and new terminology, like Bing Bong shows up and he's just like, he's the arbiter of being like, oh, of course, you didn't know about the X or the Y? We got to use that to get back. When you don't know the rules and you don't know what is happening, there's no stakes. When they're going through the abstract thing, luckily Phyllis from The Office /Sadness says, "Oh, we'll get stuck in here." Didn't know that. I'm glad.
But she read the manual, Sean. Someone had to explain it.
Thank God she read the manual. Let me reiterate.
See, of course the manuals are important. Don't try and act like they're not.
Hey, you read the manuals. You can get us out of here. Holy shit. Do you think at one point they were going through the drafts of the script being like, can we call them something more fun than manuals? Like if I was a kid watching that, I would just phase out completely.
Like Riley does whenever she starts to get overtaken by a deep, deep depression and gets on a bus.
Do you think Riley is going to become like a school shooter or something?
No, because everything gets rebuilt and better.
For now. Though, can we talk about how many times this movie they go, it couldn't possibly get worse? And then, like, that's the cliffhanger at the end of the movie. She's like, after all, she's turning 12. What could possibly go wrong?
Whoa, somebody's going to hit the puberty button.
They couldn't handle her at 11? I don't know what made me think of this, but the boyfriend generator, the ideal boyfriend that's like, I'll die for you, Riley. At 11, are you having those? That's pretty early, isn't it? I don't want to.
Girls do go through
That journey
puberty
quicker?
process before boys do.
I guess so.
I mean, when were you imagining girls?
I mean, my first sexual experience or awakening was watching Batman and Robin and seeing Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, which was in third grade.
So yeah, 99. Or 98.
Don't talk about years. What doesn't matter.
You just said third grade.
I mean, literal years, like what year it happened in and what year I was.
You were 8 years old.
Yeah, and I guess everyone's different, but I don't know. Moot point. I was just
you
surprised.
were definitely imagining Uma Thurman. So why is this so outlandish?
You know, you're right, and this movie's great.
That's all I wanted to get out of you. No, I mean, you're allowed to not like a movie. That's why the show exists.
No, it's really poo-poo, and I think it's because we've been spoiled by just having really good Pixar movies that are not only marvels of animation and animating achievement, but I think we also expect a really great story to go with it, and
this is not a really great story. It's good. It gets the job done.
No. And you've seen them in the past be able to make you care about toys and animals and people. And when you have emotions as the characters, it's not a fun journey.
It's a good concept.
It's a fun, heady concept. It's definitely the Pixar animators having like a late night, like this was their getaway vacation, and they're all really high and drunk, and they're like, emotions.
Okay, let me ask you this before we get out of here. So, do you know what the actual plot of the new Toy Story 4 movie is?
No, do you?
Yeah.
Tell me.
The Toy Story 4 plot is basically about not a toy.
Toy for a tour.
No, it's a spork that
I saw the trailer.
Right. And the little girl who adopts the toys in Toy Story 3 creates a toy for herself. And so the spork comes to life. And the movie's about the spork having an existential crisis. Do you think that is too heady for children?
I like that more because I think that definitely is more of an audience-appropriate movie, where more true to Pixar's roots.
And it's definitely more specific than making a movie about emotions.
Yes, and if it teaches kids about existentialism, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
All right.
I think it'll definitely be like the parents that let their kids watch A Clockwork Orange when they're 11. You're like, whoa!
Well, whenever Toy Story 4 comes out, rest assured, Sean and I are going to go see it and cry in the movie theater.
And we'll see you
right after
the movies.
Sean.
Right after this.
Right after these commercials. Send it to Zoom. 02134 Boston, Mass.
.net.
We tried. You got there. Sean, I am so glad to finally have you on the show.
What a treat.
What a treat that can't be beat.
I feel like I talked way too close to this microphone the whole time. Only time will tell. Thank you so much for having me.
Sean, and by the way, we didn't get a chance to talk about it at the top of the show, but Sean is one of my, not only one of my best friends, one of my oldest friends. We've known each other since high school. We went to the same middle school. And we are collaborating on a fun thing that we can't give a lot of details about yet, but we're, stay tuned.
Secrets are no fun.
Yeah, stay tuned for some fun details for a project that Sean, Tyler, and from a couple episodes back, and I are going to be coming out with sometime soon. But in the meantime, Sean does have some other wonderful things that I'm sure you'd like to plug. Plug away, buddy.
Hey, you guys, if you want to see like some fun VR stuff, if you're interested in virtual reality, we have this sick channel. Just check out VR with your mom on YouTube. It's just a lot of fun, and it's not lame like it sounds.
It is a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
And is there anywhere you want people to find you on social media?
You can find me all over social media. I am not the comedian Sean O'Connor.
There is a comedian named Sean O'Connor.
So if you come across him, that's not me. I should probably slip a middle initial in my name.
Sean. You did Sean Patrick for a little while.
It was just the most Irish thing ever, and it's ridiculous.
It's pretty good.
I'll work on it, but you can find me at Sean O'Connor on something, Facebook. Probably. Don't bother. I'll see you later.
You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. And if you like the podcast, leave a rating, subscribe, tell a friend, get some other people to hate some movies with us.
Like and subscribe, okay?
Oh my God, like, subscribe, share.
Well, let's get out of here.
Okay. What are you doing with your mouth?
Like we forgot to stop recording and we were kissing is what I was going for. Oh, this is still on.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.